If you're thinking of moving to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2025, you might be wondering if it's time to buy or time to wait. Well, let's just say the Charlotte market has been making some major unexpected waves, and you're gonna want the inside scoop before you make a mistake that could cost you thousands. In this video, I'm gonna break down where the Charlotte market stands, what we learned from 2024, and what the outlook is for the remainder of the 2025 year, especially if interest rates drop, inventory shifts, and prices move. If you're looking for everything Charlotte, North Carolina, the ins, the outs, and everything in between, you've come to the right channel. Be sure to click the subscribe button and be the first to know about all the upcoming changes to the Charlotte region. I'm 𝗖𝘀 𝗀𝘀, local real estate expert in the Charlotte region, and every single day we're getting calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites from people just like you looking to make the move to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So if that's you, drop down in the description below. All my contact information is there, whether you're making the move in 9 days or 90 days. If you're coming across the world, across the country, or just across town, we're here to make your move everything you want it to be. So let's dive in and talk about what we learned from 2024. Well, if you didn't already know, it was actually the slowest housing market since the mid-1990s. That's right, after coming off of the 2020 and 2021, I'm gonna call it era of real estate, we went into a massive slump with so few homes being sold. Now, for those that weren't completely burnt out from the massive impact that we saw in 2020 and 2021 with those extremely low interest rates, it was an amazing time for buyers to get back into the market and actually negotiate some really great deals that were still a win-win for both sides. Now, part of the reason for the 2024 slump is that buyers were sitting on the sidelines waiting for those rates to drop because it was promised that it was going to. And we did. We saw multiple rate drops throughout the year, followed by a rate increase. It was a bit of this all throughout the year, and at the end of the day, if you wanted to get into a home, you had to dive in. So although we did see the lowest amount of sales in many, many years, we did see the actual home prices increase from the prior year. 2024 median sales price was $385,000, unchanged year over year for January 2025. And an average sales price of $476 in 2024, which was actually up 2.5% year over year from the prior year. In addition, we also saw inventory grow about 35% over time, bringing us to about 2.5 months of inventory, which hadn't been seen in a very, very long time. Now, all of what we saw happen in 2024 set the stage for what we're seeing now and what we're expecting to continue to see throughout the 2025 year. So what in the world were we seeing early 2025? I'm not gonna lie, the first few months of 2025 looked a little, well, not great. We were having really long days on market, 55 days in some areas, and we were not seeing the pickup that we were hoping for as we usually see in January. But just wait, it gets better. In fact, home sales are up 10.5% since January 2025, meaning buyers are back. The cool thing is though, sellers are still willing to make a deal. And even though we're starting to see more multiple offers creep in, there are still some incredible properties out there. Now, while showing activity on properties is lower than what we would say is usual, we do see some upticks in showing activity in some of the hotter spots of Charlotte and some of the hotter towns such as Fort Mill and Matthews. In addition, although those days on market were at 55 days in some areas, we're starting to see that trend down. That's right, we went from low days on market way all the way up, and now we're starting to slowly trend down. Now, this depends on the area, it depends upon how it's priced, and it definitely depends on what the home has to offer. So let's take a look at that. Homes that are properly priced, that are in a great area, especially great schools, and are either fully renovated or absolutely move-in ready are flying off the shelves. That's right, we're talking 2 to 7 days on market in many cases for homes like that. Now, that doesn't mean homes aren't going to sell, and I want to put you at ease. If a home has been on the market for 55 days, it's okay. It's kind of normal right now, and it's not something to be scared of, especially if you're starting the hunt to look for a property. While I do have clients asking what's wrong with it, in most cases, it's just the market moving slowly and starting to come out of hibernation. With that, with properties being on the market a little bit longer, sellers are also more agreeable to different terms, to lower prices, or even to closing costs. This can be a major advantage if you see a property that maybe needs a little something done to it. You could possibly negotiate some closing costs and take care of it on your own time after the house closes. Now, here's the other big reason why we're probably seeing a massive push over the last couple of weeks when we have seen absolute stagnancy over the last couple of months prior to this. We did see a dip in interest rates coming down from 7 to on average 6.5%. Even that small pivot from 7 to 6.5% has made major moves in the market. Coupled by the increase in inventory, as well as us coming closer to the summer months, we're getting people that are ready to go out and start looking. Here's the thing, buyers can't afford to wait and see anymore. When interest rates tick down, listings tick up. And that means that the demand is increasing, and we're already seeing that in our current market. So what does this mean? What does the rest of 2025 have in store? Well, my, of course, crystal ball is on back order at Amazon, but here's what I can tell you based upon what we've seen in the past and based upon some of the forecasting for our upcoming mortgage rate industry. Let's take a look. First, let's talk a little bit about inventory and pricing. We're going to see inventory continue to increase, of course, through spring and into the summer months, probably lingering long into fall. One of the challenges we saw in 2024 was that it was an election year, which does tend to constrict the real estate market for several months leading up to it and afterwards. Now, in addition to that, we're probably going to see our prices remain pretty steady with steady and gradual increases. Over the last 10 to 15 years, we've seen average outside of 2020 and 2021, we've seen average increases of about 6% throughout the Charlotte region. That's expected to probably continue as some areas will increase faster than others, but we have not seen a backwards turn in our pricing in a very, very long time, nor is that expected into the next couple of months or next couple of years. Now, we may see some increases in the cost for building, but I highly doubt we're going to see massive impacts. Now, although there are some labor restrictions and we also have some increased costs of materials, we kind of go through that every single year. So it's not expected that's going to make a massive impact. So let's talk a little bit about interest rates. Yes, they're expected to come down. Average rate 30-year fixed right now is sitting somewhere between 6.5 and 6.7. Now, as I said, interest rates are a little bit volatile, and they'll probably continue to do so over the next several months. The Federal Open Market Committee, or FOMC, is expected to make cuts to interest rates at least twice this year. In fact, the first major cut is probably going to come sometime around June 2025. Based upon the trends and what we are headed towards, we're probably going to see it level out around 6% nearing the end of 2025, and hopefully following through and maybe dipping more into 2026, but that is not yet promised. What I can tell you is based on everything that I have seen and the forecast and analysis, we are probably going to be closer to 6% by end of 2025. Now, what does this mean for you? Well, the 1% shift in interest rate can actually equate to 11% of buying power in one way or another. So if we're seeing that 0.5% reduction in interest rate, that's going to be some massive moves in the market, which could mean increased buyers hitting the market, as well as a little bit of an increase in potential sales prices as we see the demand rise, and we still only have the same amount of inventory. Now, things that could affect this are inflation and job reports. As we know, current administration is working to reduce inflation and increase the job market, so we'll see how that all aligns. But from what everything is looking like, we're going to be in a really good spot nearing the end of the year. So should you wait to the end of the year to purchase your new home? My opinion, no. Why? Because once we hit those rates, we're going to see a massive increase in people wanting to go out and purchase homes. We're going to see some inventory restrictions or constrictions. And while there still will be incentives from new construction and builders, they usually flex and flow those depending upon the demand. In fact, even in 2020, they went into multiple offers as well. Who would have thunk? New construction and multiple offer situations and bidding wars? It was nuts. I hope that we don't see that again, and I don't think that we will, but do understand that the best time to buy is when people aren't, where there's fewer people doing it. It's when you're going to get your best opportunities, not only to negotiate the price, but also potential closing costs and incentives. And it's going to give you a wider variety of homes to look at with longer days on market, giving you a little bit less stress and keeping things still moving forward while giving the opportunity to refinance later but securing that lower cost now. So mortgage rates are going to drop, but don't wait for the perfect rate, especially being it may never come. To give you some clear numbers, a 0.5% drop in interest rate on a $500,000 home will save you about $150 a month. But if a home jumps 5% in sales price, you're actually going to lose far more in the long run. So what's my opinion on 2025? From everything that I have seen over the last several years, we are trending in the right direction for not only this to be a very strong real estate market, but also to give a little bit more evenness for a buyer and for a seller. Now, the Charlotte market is vastly expanding. We have far more new construction opportunities with a variety of prices anywhere from the 400s all the way up in topping out at probably north of the $3 million mark for custom build. So what does this mean for you? It means there's opportunity, there's options, and while we can't control interest rates and we can't control the market, we can control what we have in front of us right now. So if you have already thought about this being the time for you, don't let interest rates scare you away from purchasing a home. In fact, it may be the best decision you've ever made. What do you think about 2025? Drop it down in the comments below. I really do look at all the comments and reply back. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the Living in Charlotte channel and be the first to know about all changes coming to Charlotte. As I mentioned before, we get calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites every single day from people just like you looking to move to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So if that's you, be sure to drop down into the description below. All of our contact information is there, and whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days across the world, across the country, or maybe just across town, we're here to make your move everything you want it to be. Until next time, I look forward to showing you around town. So you're making the move. There's a lot of videos that you can be watching, like this one right here, or maybe even this one. Really either one of these, but honestly, watch both of them because they're gonna help you make the move. Go ahead, pick one. They're both really good.